Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy KJ5 to the 2. You're listening to
Yo,
Amp
what
Radio.
they do?
SA.
Your boy Official, and I just came by to encourage my brother SA with Amp Radio and whoever is part of this.
Yo, what's good, fam? This your boy DM, and you listening to SA from Death to Self Records on Amp Radio. Check it out.
I'm covered in the blood while he hung, cause he dripped the rat. While he was in the garden.
What up? It's your boy Bishop Chase, man. You know, just wanted to leave a shout out to my man SA. Man, you doing big things, man. Keep repping Christ. You know, keep doing what you're doing. I love what you're doing with the show, man. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Youngtown.
Girl LS.
Freshman.
This is Kim Frank.
I just want to encourage y'all to be checking out Amp Radio, one of the hottest radio shows on the web right now, for your music to be played as well as other music to be played as well as your music and stuff like that. Hey, you listening to Amp Radio. You know what I mean? Just keep doing what you do, man. God moves. Alright, bro. One love.
Keep it locked right here.
What's going on, boys and girls? It's your boy SA, and you are listening to Amped Radio, sponsored and put on by D2S Records. It's your boy SA. Want to put y'all in the mix. I want to welcome you to another amazing, truly amazing episode. Today we're going to be talking about the evolution of the music career. So if you are an artist, a music artist, if you're out there trying to make it happen for your music, then you are in the right place. You're going to listen and learn some stuff today. So stay tuned, we're gonna get into that. First up, of course, as always, we got music for you to listen to, and we got some new artists, some new submissions, so that's how you know we're doing all right. First up, we got Chillin' in HK, sorry, let me say it again, Chillin' in HK by MC Jin, followed by The Solution by newcomer Silas Clark, aka Brother War. You're in the mix right here on Amps Radio. It's your boy SA. Stay tuned. We'll be right back right after these amazing songs. Check it out.
You know I gotta say something. AyoGen.com. Looking at me. Look who got back on the MRC. Been gone for a minute, not making a sound. At least it's how it seems, cause I've been out of town. Based in Hong Kong, don't knock it till you try it. I'm eating out here, no Jenny Craig diet. Been less than 2 years, I can't believe the hype. They hear what I'm saying and they see it like Skype. I'm making moves, yes, an assortment. TV and film, multiple endorsements. I'm on a mission, far from just chilling. Spitting in my native tongue, oh what a feeling. Ain't the worst, not saying I'm the best, but when I kick a verse, I'm hip-hop in the flesh. Tell me, why would you try to ruin this? You know how long I've been doing this? 15 years, 10 in the game, go ahead. Pretend like you don't know my name. No rookie, a certified veteran. I ain't really worried about who you think is better than Jin. Me, I'm more of a gentleman. They fighting for attention like Leno and Letterman. I'm in my own lane, cruising, zoning. You can have a spot, yo, call me Conan O'Brien, not the barbarian. Stay away from beef like the best vegetarian. I'm all about positive vibes, more than dollar signs. You see God in my eyes. Still perform when the checks get paid. All the ladies go gaga when I step on stage. It always goes from just dancing to ducking paparazzi and bad romances. Switch my style like the beat does here. This is just a sample, can I get a clear? Absolutely, no need to be shocked. I can say anything and still make it sound hot like. But I'd rather say something.
Turn it up.
This is not your ordinary radio.
What you got? Alright.
You're listening to Amp Radio.
Where the party
Brought
at?
to you by D2S Records. We got you in the mix.
You're not part of this
If you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. So you're part of the reason that all these heathens keep ballin' is cause you won't support the artists who truly answer their calling. When they need support, you keep hesitating and stalling. But still you got the nerve to complain and explain about the wicked industry Illuminati. You see how they influencing our youth to live a lie and not the truth and think it's cool to be acting naughty. And now they trying to even play with the occult and introduce it to our children, we see the result. You wonder why they so confused and making bad choices. They looking for direction from these foolish voices. And people say it's just about the beat and entertainment, but I challenge that notion, now let me just explain it. These lyrics gonna get inside your subconscious, or you just being filled with knowledge or the nonsense. You're not part of the solution, why you keep complaining? Why? I be on that field, keep it real in the field, I'm fulfilled cause my God's amazing. You're not part of the solution, why you keep complaining? Why? I be on that field, keep it real in the field, I'm fulfilled cause my God's amazing. Music can be so influential and monumental. It can touch your heart and put some wisdom in your mental. Most of these rappers are exploiting themselves. Their soul is still in poverty, but they pursuing wealth. They don't even know the true value that they possess. Words are containers of power, but they speak in mess. Me, I'm dedicated to use my talent to reach each and every person on the internet and streets. I think we owe it to the youth to promote the truth and not the fiction. Cause they buy into the lies they advertise. I think it's time that we just cancel their subscription. The people bigger than the industry will ever be. It's an illusion, don't be impressed with celebrity. They need your prayers more than your adoration. Keep on praising God for his habitation. You're not part of the solution, why you keep complaining? Why? I be on that field, keep it real in the field, I'm fulfilled cause my God's amazing. You're not part of the solution, why you keep complaining? Why? I be on that field, keep it real in the field, I'm fulfilled cause my God's amazing. Real talk. Y'all need to support what you love more than you complain about what you hate. Whatever you give attention, it will grow.
That is The Solution by Brother War, one of the newcomers on Amped Radio submitting their songs. And this is just one of many. We got another artist coming up at the end of the show by the name of Oeasy, who submitted some tracks too. So we are definitely growing, guys. We're growing as this radio show just keeps on posting some new episodes. So really glad you guys are here. Once again, we are here on the live tip. So if you are checking us out on Facebook or YouTube, you are tuning in live, go ahead and post some comments. I am seeing them come through. And we got Freshman and Polarity, the D2S artist, holding it down, moderating the chat right now. So if you got something to say, drop it in there. If I don't respond, then one of them will. So that's how we do it here on Amped Radio. We are a label, we are a family. D2S Records holding it down. So yeah, and if you are an artist, once again, I just wanted to say, go ahead and submit your tracks to Amped Radio at deaf2selfrecords.com. That's deaf, the number 2 selfrecords.com. Or you can go to our website, which is ampedradiolive.com. All right, man. Yo, I'm just so happy to be here. I'm so happy to see people watching, checking this out. And so we got an interesting topic to cover today, and I'm actually thinking that we're going to be going over maybe a series on this, but for right now it's just a one-off episode. So y'all pay attention, because today we're going to be talking about evolution, the evolution of the music career. That's right. So if you're an artist, make sure to check this out. Make sure to take some notes. This is good for you. And before we get into that, though, I wanted to introduce part 4 of Underdogs. So if this is your first time checking us out, Underdogs is a video series chronicling the 15 years of D2S Records, that's our record label, in ministry, in music. And the purpose of the show is to kind of go behind the scenes and show you what we've been doing and what we got coming up. This is, as of 2019, our 15-year anniversary. So as such, every artist on the label is coming out with a new album. And we use the first 4 episodes to kind of go, tell each person's story a little. So if you want to check it out, Underdogs is on YouTube. You can find it at youtube.com/Defty Self Records, or you can find it on Facebook. We're posting it there too. So go to Facebook and type in D2S Records. We're the one with the red and white logo. But anyway, so today we're going to preview episode 4 featuring Jay Deuce, who's another artist on the label, holding it down in Connecticut/New York City. I met him in the Bronx. He was my rapping partner for a while. And yeah, so y'all stay tuned, check it out. We'll be right back. I'm going to play this preview. And yeah, take a listen.
The more I enjoyed it. You guys may or may eventually notice that the type of music that I do is not the same type of music that most rappers, maybe not all, but most rappers tend to do. Like, you know, especially when they're talking about, you know, drugs, sex, women, you know, making crazy cash, money, whatever. So, you know, of course, not all rappers are rapping certain, like, about things like that and glorifying it. Like, I feel like I don't look to glorify those things like that. And of course, I'm the type of rapper, I talk about everything. Anything and everything. Anything that's relevant, like real life issues, situations, like literally anything that's relevant, I talk about it in my music. And of course, I still talk about sex, money, and all that, but then maybe, not maybe, or like I won't talk about it in the same way that a lot of rappers would talk about that. Of course, one of the main reasons is my faith in God. I feel like my inspiration from God, of course, and also other great people in my life that also have the same faith. We all help each other out and, you know, have that inspiration that that's one main reason we ain't gonna rap about stuff like that.
All right, so that was episode 4, a preview of episode 4 featuring Jay Deuce. And once again, if you want to check out the show, all 4 episodes are available right now on Facebook and YouTube. And episode 5 is coming soon, along with episode 6. Those 2 have already been written, and it's just a matter of getting it out there. So y'all stay tuned to that, guys. Let me click this right here. All right, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and let's talk about our topic for today. That is the evolution of the music career. And this is a pretty interesting topic, because if you're an artist, you know, one of the things that you want to do is obviously be successful. But how do you become successful in this day and age? I mean, let me just kind of give you a little bit of some background here. As you know, yours truly, your boy Essay, is a rapper. And I started back in 2004, roughly. That's when I launched the label. That's when I really started getting serious about music. And in 2004, hip-hop was a lot different than what it is now. Right or wrong. There was no such thing as mumble rap. In fact, I came out way before guys like Mims and Soulja Boy and even Lil Wayne, you know. So hip-hop, there was a certain standard at the time. And back then, the digital revolution, the distribution thing was, you know, it was still pretty new. We didn't have Spotify back then. We didn't even have Apple Music. We had iTunes, but we didn't have the stuff that you listen to now. We definitely didn't have Tidal or anything else, Pandora. But what we did have was Napster. Who remembers Napster? If you remember Napster, go ahead and chime in the chat here. Let me know if you're an old head like me. But point is that the music industry was very different back then. So back then, artists still very much relied on CD sales, you know, getting their CDs in record stores. You know, how many record stores have closed in the wake of the digital distribution revolution, right? I'm from New York City, and one of the biggest stores in Times Square was Virgin Records. Virgin Records was a ginormous music store, and it was one of my favorite places whenever I was rolling around Manhattan. A few years back, that store closed down. And so it's just kind of showing you how I mean, this also goes with Toys R Us, which closed down in Times Square as well, and you can blame Amazon for that. But basically, it goes back to the point that the digital distribution revolution has really taken off. And so the efficiency of record labels are not what they are now. I mean, they're not what they were before. And so if you want to be a successful artist, you know, back in the day, your number one thing was, man, I got to get on a record label, right? Because if I get on a record label, man, they're going to handle everything. They're going to handle, you know, all the expensive equipment. I mean, I can't get in a booth, you know, without spending mad cash. And surely I can't have my own equipment because at the time, having quality equipment like a microphone, an interface, and all that stuff was pretty pricey. It was around the time that I entered that you know, home studio equipment was lowering in price and it was becoming, you know, a more affordable commodity. But historically speaking, it wasn't the case. So here you are wanting to become a music artist. You know you got to jump on a record label. You know you got to get those CD sales. And it was both good and bad. Good in the sense that, you know, definitely CDs was the number one way of getting music out there. And the reason why that was good is because per unit, you're making a lot more money back. When iTunes came around, they introduced the ability to just download whichever songs you wanted. So you would sell a CD for $10, but if you're on iTunes, you could get people that just buy a couple songs from your album for 99 cents a song. And so, you know, you want to sell the whole CD because it's the most bang for the buck. You make the most money back. But the digital distribution thing was changing the whole landscape. And now we have Spotify, Tidal, we have Pandora, we got all these streaming services that you don't get paid per download anymore. Even Apple, I mean, iTunes is still around, you still can download per track, but even Apple, they're promoting their Apple Music streaming service. So that's sitting higher above even what they provide with iTunes. So no longer can you even make money. I mean, you can, but no longer can you typically make money per download, like per song, 99 cents per song. But now you have to rely on streams. And what we discussed in previous episodes is that you have to get, I don't know how many thousands upon thousands of listens of streams before you make money. Like if you, like every stream that you get, it's a percentage of a penny. And so it's, hey, what's up, Nathan Toon? Shout outs to Nathan Toon who jumped in here. He's watching, he's on the chat. Just want to give a quick shout out to my man. All right, so sidetracked. So anyway, you have this new way of, you know, making money off music, and unfortunately, it's not really conducive if you're trying to make a living, right? You can't honestly make a living off of streams from Spotify and Tidal and Pandora and so on and so forth. So kind of depressing, isn't it? How do you make money then? How do you make a living? This is why I'm talking about the evolution of music, because, you know, your music career was considered one way 10, 15 years ago. But now it's a whole different ballgame. Now the independent artist actually has a higher chance of success than the one signed to a label. And I say that because they're not constrained by many things that the label would constrain an artist. Oftentimes when you sign to a record label, you're signing your whole life, your identity to the record label. And it's again, it's kind of both good and bad depending on the record label. Like if you sign on to D2S Records, I gotta be honest, that's probably gonna be the best record deal you're ever gonna get. And I'm not being biased, I'm just being truthful. I'm speaking truth, you know? But but for real though, when you sign to a record label, you know, the benefits of that are that they are definitely seasoned. They know what works and they know what doesn't work. So when they control your career it's kind of good in the sense that they know what's going to sell. And so if they got to change your name, if they got to change the way certain songs are, it could be a good thing. But the flip side is it can also be a bad thing, because the record labels are in it for money. It's all about business. And so in order to make money, most record labels are going to say, well, promote sex, promote drugs, promote gang violence, promote all these things. And that may not be what you entered the music industry for in the first place. So obviously you got to get with the right record label. But if you are an independent artist, well, you don't have any of those constraints. You could be as free as you want. And, you know, instead of paying all those overhead fees that a record label would give, in fact, record labels give artists advances, which is just borrowed money. You got to pay all that back. So as an independent artist, you don't have that. And so that's good because, you know, you don't have to owe. But if you are an independent artist, maybe you're, you know, paying those fees, like, you know, for upgrading equipment, for getting CDs produced, all these things. Maybe you're spending credit, maybe you're getting a business loan. So it kind of levels out to be the same, but not to the same extent and to the same conditions as having a record label. So let me ask you this. You guys chime in the chat if you are if you're checking this out, or just send me an email for your comments. What do you think is the better route? Do you think it's better to be an independent artist, or do you think it's better to be signed to a record label? I actually have a video I want to play for you guys, and this is sort of a brief explanation. It's about a couple minutes long, talking about the music scene and, you know, how music is distributed and that kind of stuff. I just thought it was interesting. It's sort of on point to what I'm talking about here. So let's check it out, and we'll be right back.
The music business is one of the biggest and most exciting industries on earth. How does it work? When you listen to a song, you're actually consuming two different products. One is intellectual. It's called a copyright. The other is audible. It's called a recording. These two products have two different supply chains that go from the point of creation to your ears. When a songwriter comes up with an idea, they then become the legal author of that work. Then publishers help songwriters register their ownership contracts with various parties. Then collecting societies go out and collect money from different music users, music apps, restaurants, broadcasters, just to name a few. A fascinating operation we'll explain in another video. Once the idea is done, bands will record it. Then it's time to promote, which lots of bands will do by themselves, or sometimes they'll have a label help out. Distributors will help get those recordings to marketplaces all over the world. These two supply chains intersect at the song that you hear. The songs are then sold to music fans in physical and virtual marketplaces, and sometimes licensed to businesses, like advertisers or films. All of that spending then flows back to all of those intermediaries, who take shares or royalties of revenue for their services. And that's how the music business works: a supply chain of music, spending, and a payment flow back. And every day, new technology like big data, artificial intelligence, and blockchain is changing this process. So follow us. We'll keep you up to speed.
All right, so hopefully you got a little something from that. It just kind of breaks down the whole structure and how music is distributed, the data chains, which I thought was pretty cool. So like you have the music, but you also have the copyright, and they're all in that file per song. So pretty interesting stuff there. And you know, again, this is for the music artists out there, you know, wanting to further their career. Understand this, because I know I've talked to so many artists in the past, and they're the creative types, and so their focus is not on the technicalities, not on little specific things about the music industry. what their focus is on is creating good music, is, you know, thinking outside the box and creating stuff that evokes emotion. And so that's where it should be. But unfortunately, if you plan on being an independent artist, you have to be both creative and analytical. You have to also understand the whole business model. And a lot of artists don't get into that because it's overwhelming. It's, you know, left brain versus right brain, and they may not be the best when it comes to understanding the business aspect of it. They just know, I want to focus on music and be successful. And that's why a lot of them sign to record labels, so that, you know, the record label can handle all that stuff and they just do what they're good at. So yeah, you know, there's still, again, benefits to being on a record label, but there's also things to be aware of. So with that in mind, the question again I ask, do you think it's better to go the route of being on a record label or being independent? And I want to say, if you want a record label, D2S is where it's at. All right, so, and I'm being for real. You think I'm joking, but I'm being for real. But anyway, so keeping that in mind, understanding how the music industry is constantly evolving, you know, what do you do to stay on top of that? Because again, what worked back in 2004 when I first started absolutely does not work today. And to a small degree it may, but it's not. So, all right, this sounds so far a little discouraging because you're thinking, wow, I need a bajillion people to listen to my music before I can make money off of Spotify. While that may be correct, don't think that all hope is lost, because if you're, first of all, two things. One, if you're a music artist, your real attention should be towards the music itself. You should always be focused on the pure art of it and your love for it. You know, I always profess this philosophy that you don't go chasing after money. You just do what you love, and then money will start chasing after you. So money, of course, we all want money. We all want to pay the bills. You know, it'd be great if instead of having a 9-to-5, all we could focus on is the music, touring, you know, doing all these things that seem glamorous to music artists. But, you know, it doesn't seem like that's the case if streaming services don't pay worth a dime, you know? So it's a little, you know, again, it can be discouraging, but remember, you're not doing it for the money. As long as you love it, let that love be what fuels and motivates you, and you will be successful, whether monetarily or not. But the second point I wanted to bring out, and this is, you know, to encourage you, is that you absolutely can make money. You can make bank with your music. So now you guys are being more intent. You guys are listening. You guys are sitting closer to the computer screen, or, you know, or if you're just listening on from iTunes, Spotify, you're pushing in those earbuds further into your ears. Like, come on, Essay, get to the point. How can I make bank off of my music then? What's the secret sauce, right? Well, listen up. So, if you want, and who wouldn't? If you want to make music make money with your music in today's day and age, then one thing you have to do, there's no compromise here. You have to do live shows. That sounds shocking. Not so much, because most music artists are like, well, hey, duh. I mean, doing live shows is part of the whole thing, isn't it? Yes, it is. But you'd be surprised how many artists don't want to do live shows. They want to create their music, they want to sell it in stores, they want radios to play them, but they don't want to do live shows. And I used to be one of them. I never wanted to get on stage. I was petrified. I dealt with social anxiety for the longest time. And so for me to get up on stage was nah. But I still had the love for the music, and so I wanted everything else but the live shows. You know, I wanted radios to play me. I wanted to sell my CDs in store shelves, but anything but getting on stage, please. The problem here is that if you don't do live shows, and when I say live shows, if you don't do it on a regular basis, you're not gonna make bank. That's pretty much the final line of defense here, because you own people's attention when you're doing live shows. See, this is marketing 101, and again, for the music artists out there that all they think is the creative way, I want to give you some business etiquette. Okay, here's some business knowledge for you guys. So when you have a CD out there and you have your CD on iTunes, Spotify, yay, you know, pat on the back, that's awesome. You have no idea who's gonna be checking out your music, or if anyone is checking out your music. You're just kind of hoping and praying that, you know, Spotify will do the job for you. Spotify ain't gonna do the job for you. You gotta do it for yourself. You gotta market yourself. It's just gonna sit there otherwise. So, but the other thing is that you also are in the hands of those people, those listeners. They may hear one song and be like, meh, because you never know what mood they're in. You never know if they're at home or in the office. You never know how much time they have to listen to your music. They're not emotionally vested into your music unless it's that amazing banger that just 2 chords, 2 notes, and wow, you got their attention. Those are called hits. and not everyone has hits on every single song in their album, right? So you fall into the trap of, you know, hey, I don't know where these people are when they're listening. I'm at their mercy. But if you put them in a sales-induced scenario, and I know that sounds kind of bad, but I'm telling you, this is marketing 101. If you put them in a sales-induced area, then you own them. You own the people listening to your music. What am I talking about? I'm talking about concerts, all right? People want to connect with other people, and they can connect through music much easier than conversation. So if someone is at a show that you are performing at, they see you, they can experience you, they can hear you, and at that time, you know, everyone else is standing up enjoying your music. They're enjoying their music. They're not looking, they're not multitasking, they're not on their phones, they're not multitasking while they're listening to your music. Change the scenario. If I'm at my office and I'm just listening to Spotify or Pandora, yeah, sure, I could be listening to your music, but I'm probably on my computer doing all sorts of things, you know, working, whatever, and you have part of my attention, not my full attention. So if you are at a show and you as the artist are performing, they're a captive audience. They are listening, they are invested, they are committed to what you're saying. Now, whether they think you're good or bad is another story. But if they think you're good, then what's the one thing that they're gonna wanna do once the show is done? They're gonna wanna buy a CD. They're gonna wanna meet you. So, you know, after the show, they go to the merch table, there you are. Oh my gosh, I saw this guy just kill it on stage. So, they're honored. They think of you like a celebrity. You may not be a celebrity, but they think of you like one, right? Because you were so cool right there on stage and performing. And so here you are at your merch table and people are crowding around you. Man, this guy's cool. So they come up, and of course it'd be rude not to, you know, not to buy a CD, you know, and hey, I could get an autograph. So let me go ahead and buy one. It's only 10 bucks, right? So yeah, $10, shake the dude's hand, take a selfie picture with them, and get a signature, you know? And now, they've already experienced you. You've been exposed to them. And guess what's gonna happen next? On the car ride home, they're probably ripping that CD open, plopping it into their CD player, because most cars still have CD players, and they're listening to your music again the whole ride home. So you've converted someone who's a total stranger into a fan, and that is more effective than throwing it out on Spotify, on any other platform, hoping and praying that someone will listen. Even if you drive traffic to it, even if you place ads on Facebook or YouTube or Google, it's still not the same encounter as having a show and then having people listen, right? They're looking at you, they're experiencing you, and if they shake your hand, if they get a few words with you, man, they feel connected with you, and they can tell people, oh yeah, I know that guy, man. Yo, I talked to him, man. And what people like to do when you've converted a fan, what they like to do is they like to see you again at another show. And again, these are called roadies, groupies, whatever, but they like to see you, like if you come again and perform in their local area, chances are they'll want to come see you again. You know why? Because one thing that I love that's really cool is when an artist calls you out by name because they recognized you before. So you see someone for the first time, you shake their hand, take a selfie, grab a CD, etc. And they go, you go away. You see this guy perform again in your town, and so you go up again. And after the show, you go up to him, and if they recognize you, they'll be like, "Oh man, Jimmy, what's up, man?" How special you think that would make them feel for an artist to call you up by name like that, right? That's awesome. You got a fan for life, and if you do that enough times, you've built a strong enough fan base. So if you're looking for the right way to, make bank and to build a career, it's all about doing the live shows. I want to give a shout out to Riley, which is a sister duo group that we've been talking to and hanging out with, and we've gone to a show of theirs, and one thing about them is that they perform nonstop, like multiple times per week even. I am always getting updates from them about new shows that they're doing, and a lot of times it's even in the same location, which is fantastic. It's amazing because you think, oh well, as an artist I gotta hit each spot one time, go on this big tour, and then come right back at it. Well, yeah, do that, but you never know, because you may reach certain people at this one location one time, and they get a whole different group the next time you hit that same location. And so the more times you hit that location, the more exposure you get. Even if every single time you get like 50 to 100 people, if you go again and again and again, it's a different 50 to 100 people. You may get some people that are the same, but for the most part, it's different people. So Riley's been doing a great job, and they're releasing a new album. They released a pre-release, and they got to share the stage with a big artist recently. So just want to give them a shout out and say that I'm proud of them for that. And they got that figured out. So doing shows, selling your CDs at those shows, because it is a sales-induced area, is amazing for the artist. And of course, not just CDs. You want to sell other merch. You want to sell, t-shirts. You want to sell posters. You want to sell stuff that is not expensive, but you can mark it up and make a decent profit from it. So think about that. And we're going to get into the scripture, and we're actually getting close to wrapping up. But I wanted to, with that in mind, I wanted to just pose this to you, okay? Because I know that many artists can be discouraged by, man, I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm doing this over and over, and nothing's adding up, Let me ask you this. What is your purpose for doing music? I mean, if you love it, that's great, but I really believe that every artist has a purpose, because what you gotta understand is that your music, even though it's cathartic, even though it helps get things out there for you, it's therapy. We should not have the mentality that it's all about that. It's all about me, how I feel in the moment. We should really think about how it's gonna affect the listening audience. Because without an audience, you've got nothing. You don't have a career in music. Because the whole point of music is to get people to listen to it, right? And your whole career, your life in music is based on people that are not you that listen and enjoy your music. So you know, it's definitely about who listens to your music. And so what is your purpose? What are you trying to convey? Who are you writing your music for? What kind of influence do you want to try and have on people? And in the last episode of Amped Radio, we talked about responsibility as a music artist. The people that you're trying to reach to, what is it that you are trying to influence them on? Music has an influence. We discussed that last time. So what is your purpose? And that leads us into our scripture. We're talking about the 10 talents in this scripture. This is Matthew chapter 25. And I'm going to skip ahead, not going to get into the whole story here. But just to summarize, there was a landowner who gave his servants talents based on their ability. And so he gave one guy, a few talents, another guy a little less, and to the last servant he gave only 1 talent. He went away for a while, and before he left, he instructed them to multiply that gift or that talent. So he went away for a while, they did their thing, he came back, and he asked, all right, so let's see what you produced. Every person that had a talent, except for one, said, yeah, I've done this and I've multiplied it. So the master, the landowner, rewarded them with double portion of what they had and made them rule over that portion. The last person with the 1 talent actually hid and buried his talent in the dirt. And he said, well, I know that you don't reap where you sow, and I was afraid of you, and therefore I hid it. But here is that 1 talent. I'm giving it back to you. So the master says here in scripture, and starting with verse 26, you wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown and gather where I have not scattered seed? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my coming I should have received what was mine own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. That's the one that started off with 5 and multiplied it. For to everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what has been taken away, and cast the worthless servant out into the darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So, reason why I bring this up is because I think, and I feel, this is just my belief, everybody has a purpose and a reason why they're doing their music. And so we got to keep our mentality straight on why we're doing this. And if we are consumed with anything other than that true love of music and anything other than our purpose in that, then we are wasting away those talents. I feel like for a while now, I've been wasting my talent because I've been on hiatus. I've been worried about other things, but I know that God put this desire in me to do music. And so what I want to encourage you is, hey, be the guy with the 5 talents, or be the guy with the 2 talents, be the guy with the 3 or 4 talents. Because if you work at it, if you just put in that effort and you multiply it, you'll be given more in abundance. But if you waste it away, if you sit on that talent, like the last guy who buried it in the dirt, then even that which you have is going to be taken away from you. You are wasting it. Think about what your influence can do for people. And by you not being that positive voice, that positive change, you are wasting it and you are causing the deaths of people. And I know that sounds a little, oh my God, the death. I'm talking about if someone has an opportunity to be changed forever in a positive way by your music and they don't have you in line to help them and they miss out on that opportunity, they may go the other way and you never know where they end up. They could be influenced by the wrong music and shoot up someone or, whatever. We talked more about that in the previous episode, but I just really want to encourage you that if you know that you're in this for the long haul, that this is what you feel called to do, that you have a love for music like this, then you got to put in that effort. You got to get out there. You got to do those shows, those live shows. Think about it from the business perspective. Remember, the sales-induced environment is what gets their attention. And it's the best way to make the most money from it. And if you do it consistently enough, you could make a full-time living. And that just means, you're not in it for the money, but that just means that you can devote more time to it. right? So I hope you guys got something from that. We got a little bit of time left, and I just want to leave it off with a quick call to action. If you are not already doing this, I highly encourage you to do so. Subscribe to us from Facebook. You know, just like the D2S Records page and make sure you get notifications turned on. On YouTube, Deaf to Self Records. That's youtube.com/Deaf to Self Records. Remember, it's the number 2. And subscribe and turn on notifications, because subscriptions don't do nothing anymore. But subscribe and turn on notifications. And of course, go to ampdradiolive.com. That's where everything is there, and you can actually get the links to where we post our episodes on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, all that good stuff. You could go there from ampdradiolive.com and subscribe to your favorite platform there. So we really appreciate the subscriptions. If you are an artist, go to ampdradiolive.com, send your songs there, or just email them to us, ampdradio@deaf2selfrecords.com. You could tell I'm trying to squeeze all the information in there at once, right? But yeah, that's how you subscribe, and we really appreciate it. And we got some awesome interviews coming up, and I'm really excited for the direction that this is going. New artists, send in your stuff. Really appreciate it. We're closing off this show, and we're going to be closing off with the new artists that submitted some songs to us. This is O-Easy with Verily, followed by Conscious, City Lights. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Really appreciate every single one of you guys. Remember, we do this every week on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that's all I got for you. Tune in next week. Love you guys. It's your boy S to the A. What do you say on Amped Radio, provided by D2S Records. And I will see you guys next week. God bless. Peace.
Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 verily. True, very, verily indeed. Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 verily. True, very, verily indeed. Verily. Yeah, he's speaking true. He the living proof. Open up the bottle, let the sinners go loose. If the righteous barely make it, what pretenders gonna do? Ain't no confidence in flesh, let them dependent on you. I've been up in the storm, I spoke and made it calm. His word is my bond, yes, I've been born new. Verily, 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 verily the truth. Truth, I ain't never been the same. Hey, Jesus came and healed up all the lames. Now we gangsta grilling demons, giving pain. Yeah, the word of God blow 'em out the frame. From the least to the greatest, from the bottom to the top. I don't need a Glock, kill a giant with a rock. Verily, 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 verily. Really, I don't stop. Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 verily. True, very, verily indeed. Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 verily. True, very, verily indeed. Verily, verily. Homie ain't no fairy. Like when demons like a pit. Shake them thoroughly. Million times, silver wine, piece of bread served. Bring buzz of fire from the Zion, that's scary. Guaranteed, last man standing alive ain't journey. And he dead, that's what unbelievers will be thoroughly. Burly, come back riding on that horse so terribly. You can preach and prophesy, pay your tithes every day. It don't matter what you do if you ain't got no charity. Healing for your body, all the word of God therapy. Thinking I'ma live forever, this is temporary. Jesus till the day I die once and you can bury me. Swing low, sweet cherry, carry me. Jesus till the day I die once and you can bury me. Swing low, sweet cherry, carry me, carry me, carry me, carry me, carry me. Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 verily. True, very, verily indeed. Verily, 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 verily. Yeah, that boy right there, he's speaking true. Verily, 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 true, very, verily indeed.
turn it up.
This is not your ordinary radio.
What you got? Alright.
You're listening to Ant Radio.
Where the party
Brought
at?
to you by D2S Records. We got you in the mix.
A man gone wrong in the city lights. His plan started strong, he gon' get it right. He understands all along how the game goes. Eyes wide on the prize, had the same glow. Foot to the pedal shift, look through the meadow. I was shook, looking at the devil. Hook to the metal, turn crook, sook in the ghetto. Took my Geppetto, cut the strings, overlooked. Cook, wait until it settled, then I jumped out the pan. Couldn't understand, got clean, trying to get a grip. Grease on my hands, saw light as it was. Looked up, cried, he was right and just. And my life wasn't enough, so it's back to the club. House party, prom dates, acting all scrub. That's what my mom hates, really wanted love, but the love wouldn't dilate, cause we were doing drugs. That's when I heard my mind say, come back, it's never gonna work out. You're only gonna chase a dream, and I hate to see what it takes to bleed. It's never gonna work out. It's never gonna work out. And you basically lose faith in him, cause you chained me. Now come back, 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 back. Come on, you were raised not to break women. You ain't supposed to contribute within a lame gimmick. And people think that this Christ goer is bipolar. So I'ma change that lane and keep my life sober. My eyes change looking at a screen. Looking through fantasies, looking for a dream. Looking at the negative, replicated scenes. The only male role model at the kid at 16. Look, I didn't choose the traits that my pops had. Thank God he got me mad enough to pop back. Told myself my kids would never have a lost dad. And they would image the same presence that God had. The contradictions and monsters within the living. Toxicity got me in a vivid, costly image of sinning, but you gotta picture it. Betraying all my fellowship for godless benefits. Come back, it's never gonna work out. You're only gonna chase a dream, and I hate to see what it takes to bleed. It's never gonna work out. What's that? It's never gonna work out. Come on. And you basically lose faith in him, cause you chained me. Now come back, 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 back. My grandpop still live in the bland box. His thoughts made him foolish, he stuck in a sandbox. He finally saw colors, mom brought a crayon box. All hell broke loose, but screw it, we can't stop. So it's back to the block again. Gotta let the kids see, we can't let it box us in. Gotta show your enemies you're not gonna box us in. Hurt, but I'ma let it bleed. Box, 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 lost grandma at 17. I gotta let it breathe. I think about it when I see a box. I think about it when I see a box. Know it's all strange, know it's gotta rain. Know I'm not alone, know I need pain. Know I shouldn't blame, know I'm not ashamed to say you're too unique to change, but I can't stay the same. Calling out, come back, it's never gonna work out. You're only gonna chase a dream, and I hate to see what it takes to bleed. It's never gonna work out. It's never gonna work out. And you basically lose faith in him, cause you chained me. Now come back.